Inconsistency puts egg on the brightest faces. Going into the 1968 season, the defending champions in the West, the Oakland Raiders, were picked to waltz easily to the Super Bowl. That prediction was made pre-season. In the East, the Houston Oilers, although not a consensus favorite, were expected to make a respectable showing. That, too, was pre-season. The New York Jets were the Oilers' greatest threat, but the New Yorkers also proved inconsistent. So when the Jets visited Houston's Astrodome, each side could predict the outcome, and then only hope. Unyielding defense told the story in the early going of the biggest showdown to date in the Eastern Division. The Houston Oilers held Joe Namath and company to a surprising 33 yards in the first half. And likewise, New York held the Oilers to a mere 29 yards. When quarterback Bob Davis did get the ball off, things didn't go any better for him. This late second quarter interception by Randy Beverly set up the Jets' first scoring opportunity. Namath's third completion out of 12 attempts found George Sauer at the Houston 1-yard line, where Namath then went over for the touchdown. New York went for the two-point conversion and succeeded. And with an early safety, the Jets led at halftime 10-0. But this lead seemed destined to fall when the Astrodome turned into a giant pressure cooker. The game could have been iced in the third quarter, but Mr. Receiver, George Sauer, proved he really is human after all. Houston's Bob Davis was hurt in the last quarter, and that brought on reserve quarterback Don Truell, number 10. And the performance he turned in, to say the least, was astonishing. Instantaneously, the Oilers moved for the first time in the contest. Truell had been in these situations before, but never had Houston produced these results. Alvin Reed caught Truell's first touchdown, and the Jets' lead was narrowed to 6 points, and Truell wasn't through yet. A roaring crowd of 51,000 saw Truell give a repeat performance as he connected with split-end Jim Byrne with 4 minutes to go for a touchdown that suddenly gave Houston a 14-13 lead. Up until now, Coach Weeb Eubank could have been as successful throwing as Joe Namath. But that was up until now, and that was before they really counted. Trailing by a point with minutes remaining, Namath methodically moved the team upfield with simple sideline passes to Sauer. And then got an extraordinary assist from Emerson Boozer, who carried the ball past midfield. Namath then coolly defied Houston's defensive right side and the clock by running the ball and not once calling a timeout. Boozer and Matt Snell carried inside the 2, and with 48 seconds to play, Snell followed tackle Winston Hill and Emerson Boozer through the same hole for the winning touchdown that protects the Jets' one-game lead in the Eastern Division. When you match a Bengal Tiger against a Miami Dolphin, you'd think a fish dinner would be the end result. But when the hunt was over, the Bengals had an empty paw. In the first half, Miami displayed a crushing pass defense that held the Bengals to only 4 receptions. Like this one, they were all hard-earned and extremely painful. The Dolphins also bottled up Cincinnati's ground game and permitted them a humble 30 yards rushing in this half. But the pass defense hurt the most. This defense was so effective that Paul Brown's offense was unable to register a point in the entire half. Miami scored early on a 26-yard field goal that was set up by a Cincinnati fumble. Number 21, Jim Kick, pounded out 15 yards to the Cincinnati 25 to help set up quarterback Bob Greasy's toss to number 89, Carl Noonan. The tally made it 10-0 Miami. Then the Bengal defense asserted itself and trapped Greasy in his own end zone for a safety and a 10-2 score at the half. Paul Brown put a scare into his offense during halftime. The first time Cincinnati touched the ball in the third quarter, Essex Johnson, number 19, cracked through a Dolphin lineman and glided 41 yards to pull Cincinnati within 1 point. The Bengals kept moving as Paul Robinson took a pitch and hammered right in for 12 yards and a near touchdown. He stayed inbounds on the next play and scored from the 1, putting Cincinnati ahead for the first time, 16-10. But the Dolphin defense again intimidated the Bengals. Bob Trumpy caught a pass from Dewey Warren and fumbled it. Miami scored on a 20-yard pass from Greasy to number 89 Noonan and regained a narrow lead of 17-16. Miami held and again broke into Bengal territory. Greasy found Stan Mitchell in the open and hit him with a 31-yard scoring pass that gave Miami a normally safe 8-point lead with less than 4 minutes to go. But the Bengals wouldn't say die. Warren hit Trumpy for a 9-yard pickup and then found the big end for a 45-yard touchdown pass that gave Cincinnati a great chance to pull a tie out of an almost certain defeat if they could only make a 2-point conversion. On the 2-point play, Warren again threw to Trumpy, but Dick Anderson broke up the pass and Randall Edmonds intercepted. The defensive effort gave Miami a narrow and hard-earned victory. In San Diego, defense was a forgotten art as the Chargers and the Denver Broncos inflated the scoreboard to a total of 79 points. In the second quarter, Marlon Briscoe, a rookie quarterback from Omaha, replaced the injured Steve Tinsey and put on a wild show. He was pressured and battered, but managed to rush for 68 yards, more than twice as much as any other Bronco runner. He also completed 17 of 30 passes and threw 3 touchdowns as his team amassed an impressive 476 yards. Briscoe moved the Broncos toward their first score with accurate passes. He hit number 85, Tom Beer, with a 19-yarder. Then he laid a 60-yard bomb in the hands of Jimmy Jones. In the third quarter, he connected with another rookie, number 42, Bill Van Heusen, for a 28-yard score. But despite Briscoe's performance, the game was a phenomenal romp. The Chargers intercepted 3 passes and broke Denver's back with a dazzling display of offensive power. Early in the second quarter, number 40, Joe Beauchamp, stole a Steve Tinsey pass and raced for a 35-yard touchdown. Passes like this 74-yard strike from John Hadle to Lance Allworth accounted for a staggering 293 yards passing in the first half alone. Another Hadle pass, this one to number 27, Gary Garrison, covered 21 yards and gave San Diego a 13-point edge in the second quarter. The barrage continued as Hadle threw his third touchdown. This one a 50-yard hook up to number 38, Jack McKinnon. Hadle's fourth touchdown pass was a bombshell to Gary Garrison. The play was good for 56 yards and gave number 27 his second tally of the day. The ground game was no less potent, as Charger runners accounted for 211 yards. Gene Foster churned out 23 yards on this sweep around left end. Number 22, Dick Post, had a towering 121 yards rushing for the day. 62 of them came on this explosion over left tackle. A change in quarterbacks failed to slow down San Diego's scoring marathon. John Brittenham kept the score mounting with a 17-yard pass to Jack McKinnon. It was San Diego's final score of the day, and the game ended with an embarrassing 55-24 romp. Sid Gilman left the field a happy man as title hopes grew larger in Charger Town. If defense was a lost art in San Diego, in Boston, the Patriots and the Bills perfected that art. But the Patriots had the true master, not Michelangelo, but Bonacati. In Boston, during the first half, both teams had plenty to kick about. Boston's number 47, Billy Johnson, ran the opening kickoff back 36 yards. But a stubborn Buffalo defense forced the Patriots to settle for a 39-yard Gino Cappelletti field goal. Billy Johnson also had a hand in the Bills' first score, as his fumble punt led to a Buffalo field goal and a 3-3 tie at the end of the first quarter. The hard running of number 22, Gene Thomas, helped Boston amass a rushing advantage of 203 yards against 49 yards for Buffalo, and it also set up Cappelletti's second field goal. Rookie quarterback Dan Dara brought his team right back on short, accurate passing. However, Boston got stingy, and Bruce Alford, number 46, came in to kick his second three-pointer for the Bills to make the score at the half 6-6. Number 25, Haven Moses, a top contender for Rookie of the Year honors, tried to generate the Bills' offense. But Buffalo, having had enough football for one day, had to sit back and watch a 30-minute special starring number 85, Nick Buoniconti. Nick came on with his offensive reading act as he intercepted a Darrow pass. This led to Boston quarterback Mike Tolliver's hookup with number 82, Jim Whalen, for a touchdown and a 13-6 lead. Buoniconti then gave another lesson in reading an offense. His second interception was responsible for another Tolliver to Whalen touchdown, and Boston led 23-6. The Bills succeeded in getting a little airtime on a Dan Dara to Bill Masters pass. But it was the Nick Buoniconti special right to the end, and his third interception closed out the show. The 23-6 Boston win gives the Patriots a good shot at a share of the Eastern Division lead when they meet the first-place Jets next weekend. In Kansas City, an old philosophy made the Chiefs into a new team. With the old T formation as their basic offensive deployment, the Chiefs were able to rip through the Oakland Raiders' famed defense. Lynn Dawson only threw 3 passes in the entire game, but this 12-yarder, his longest, put the Chiefs inside Raider territory early in the first quarter. Using setbacks Mike Garrett, Wendell Hayes, and number 45, Robert Holmes, the Chiefs made up for their defunct aerial attack with almost 300 yards rushing. Number 38, Wendell Hayes, powered over for the first score of the game, and the Chiefs had a 7-0 lead. The Raiders' offense in the first half reminded one of the old children's game called May I. Raiders number 43, George Atkinson, gave them a giant step with a 53-yard kickoff return. But that's all the Chiefs would allow. First, they made the Raiders take 4 steps backward. Then 7 steps backward. On 3rd and 21, Oakland's Darryl LaMonica tried to take a giant step. But the Chiefs' number 42, Johnny Robinson, said, "No, you may not." And that's how the Raiders' offense managed to make no points and only 4 first downs in the first half. The Chiefs' offense, on the other hand, continued their grounded attack without mercy. Robert Holmes for 32. The middle of the Raiders' line kept opening up, and the Chiefs' setbacks kept coming through. From the 4, Kansas City surprised Oakland and went around in. Robert Holmes scored, and the Chiefs led by 2 touchdowns. A field goal gave them a 17-0 lead at halftime. Kansas City opened the second half with a brutal display of power. They continually gnawed at the center of the Raiders' defense. The longest gain was a 9-yarder by number 38, Wendell Hayes. But the whole drive was a superb example of ball control. Not only did they control the ball, the Chiefs also ate up 9.5 minutes in this juggernaut effort. It was not spectacular football in the flashy sense, but it put 6 more points on the board, and the Chiefs led 24-0. Finally, the team noted for the spectacular started to move. With little time left in the third quarter, the Raiders again looked like champions. Then came the spectacular, a 55-yarder from LaMonica to Billy Cannon, and the Raiders were on the board trailing 24-7. In the fourth quarter, the Raiders' defense was like that of old. Kansas City could not make 1 first down, and the Raiders scored 3 points on a field goal. With only a minute and a half left, LaMonica staged one of his famous precision passing drills. The passes were perfect, the gains were large, but the clock was small, and so was the Raiders' score. The belated rally ended on a 22-yard gain. The clock had run out. There was simply no more time left for the Raiders to stage a dramatic finish. The Kansas City Chiefs winning 24-10 is the fact, but what the fact means is that the Oakland Raiders, last year's champions, are now in 3rd place, and that's a long way from the Super Bowl. Where have all the good times gone? Long time ago, say the Oakland Raiders. The invincible Raiders have now been vincible for 2 straight weeks. Did Oakland's good times go when they lost Tom Keating on defense? No, the defense is just slightly under last year's phenomenal performance. It's Oakland's offense that has been amazingly inconsistent. Since the Raiders are still only 1.5 games out of first place, there is still plenty of Super Bowl time left. But first, Oakland's offense must make its move toward the goal line. I'm Charlie Jones.